All right, April 1st, Adrien the Problem Broner returns to defend his WBA super lightweight title against Mayweather Promotions fighter Ashley Theophane. Now, normally I don't like to break down fights like this because Adrien Broner is a huge favorite here. He's like a minus 4,000 and Ashley Theophane is a plus 2,000. So Adrien Broner is a heavy favorite, and as well he should be. Taking nothing away from Ashley Theophane, but as of late, really hasn't been in there with any big names. Got that push, with Floyd Mayweather Promotions being his promoter. Obviously, that helps. But, I don't know. This is a fight where I have a hard time seeing him getting the decision. I just don't think that he will be good enough to get this decision from Adrien Broner. Now, a lot of people are interested in this fight because they're not really sold on Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner has shown some weaknesses, particularly against aggressive fighters. But Ashley Theophane just doesn't fit that bill. He can fight, and one person asked me to watch that Danny Garcia Ashley Theophane fight back in 2010 and really look at that fight closely, and they used that as a basis for saying that, hey, Ashley Theophane could win this fight. I mean, he can box. He gave Danny Garcia fits. But let's look at that fight. It was a long time ago, and you can make an argument, I guess, if you really wanted to. But at the end of the day, I thought Danny Garcia landed the harder shots and landed the cleaner, more effective blows. My buddy Ness made a good point by saying since he's been with Mayweather Promotions, Floyd's been taking care of him. He's been getting better sparring, better training at the Mayweather gym. He's more comfortable now because he's getting paid better, and he could be a better fighter. But again, he's 35 years old. How much better could he have gotten? You know what I'm saying? You are what you are. As Customato once said, people who are born round don't die square. And, the big problem I have with Ashley Theophane, again, he could fight. He has some skills. He's definitely not a journeyman. He's definitely not a lower level fighter. He can make this fight interesting in spots because he's quick, because he fights very well on the outside. He knows how to gauge distance well, and he's a good sharp puncher from the outside. But the problem is he just doesn't have power. I don't think he has enough power to keep Adrien Broner honest. Adrien Broner is a little shorter, but he's got the longer arms. And again, Adrien Broner can punch. He can definitely punch. He punches hard enough to get fighters' attention. He was able to knock Sean Porter down in the last round of their fight. So he's a sharp puncher. The problem is, can he sustain a high work rate or a high enough work rate to, keep his opponent at bay, number one, and to seal the deal. Seal the deal in there. Not just fight in spurts, but do enough to decisively win rounds. Because both of these guys leave the door open if you really look at how they fight. Ashley Theophane, he works hard in there, fights well, as I said, from the outside, but he just doesn't land punches that are hard enough or really clean enough sometimes to grab the judge's eyes. So he'll be in fights where, he may be landing here and there, but his opponent always seems to land the cleaner, harder blows. So he leaves the door open. He never really seals the deal. If you look at his last 7 fights, 4 of those fights were split decisions. 2 of them he won, 2 of them he lost. And he also has 2 majority decisions on his record. So because he's not a big knockout puncher, because he's not an exceptionally strong guy in there, he may have speed, he may have good foot movement, and he may gauge distance well, decent counter puncher, but because of the lack of power and the attitude where he's not going in there for the kill a lot of times, he's pretty content to fight the fight on the outside and just pick away and try to score points on his opponent as opposed to going in there for the kill. I think because of that, Adrien Broner could take the lead in this fight because he won't be concerned about Ashley Theophane's power, and he's not going to be overly pressured in this fight. He'll have time to sit back and react because this fight will be for the most part, fight at a distance, and that's where Adrien Broner is more successful when he has that space and he has that time to react. And as good as Ashley Theophane is in terms of speed and boxing ability, I think Adrien Broner is better all around. He's a harder puncher. He's a little bit quicker. He'll definitely get off first when he wants to take the lead, and he'll be able to react because he's closer to being in his prime than Ashley Theophane is, and he's all around the more gifted fighter. So Ashley Theophane could make this fight interesting in spots, but at the end of the day, I think Adrien Broner's power and speed will take over. And when Adrien Broner's in there with the guy who really can't hurt him, he takes more chances. He gambles more. As we saw in the Alec Verdee fight, another fighter who's a solid fighter, but not on the level of Adrien Broner, but really can't punch all that hard. And Adrien Broner had no problem just taking it to him and walking him down and, having his way with them. So because Ashley Theophane is not a big puncher, because he's not a physically imposing guy who's going to go in there and take it to his opponent, and because he's not that type of guy who likes to go in there and maul on the inside, which are some of the things that bother Adrien Broner, I don't think Adrien Broner is going to have a ton of problems in this fight, and I think he's going to be able to land the harder, cleaner blows, possibly walk Ashley Theophane down, and you may even see a late stoppage in this fight by Adrien Broner. These are the type of fights where Adrien Broner shines, where there's not really a threat of him having to deal with the pressure guy, a guy who's a big puncher. So I think Adrien Broner, because of the power and because of the speed and because of the fact that he's not in there with a guy who has attributes that problem him an awful lot, I think he'll have his way with Ashley Theophane, and I'm looking for Adrien Broner to win the majority of the rounds here, have a really good performance against a guy who's good but really not a dangerous threat to him in terms of style. This is definitely not Adrien Broner's Achilles heel, this type of opponent. So I think this is going to be a fight where Adrien Broner is going to look good. And I think he can probably stop Ashley Theophane late in this fight. I think that's definitely a possibility. But I have a hard time seeing Ashley Theophane winning this fight. All due respect to him, he's a solid pro. But again, if you can't close the deal and you leave the door open, I think Adrien Broner is going to be able to slam that door in his face and take the victory here. All right, guys, that's all I got for you right now. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. Let me know what you think about this fight.